Hey, Tayraygun here, and guess what? We got enough bad guys. We finally need to get Flash Gordon in the mix. We're going to be looking at the Mattel version, the greatest adventure of all time, set Flash Gordon by NECA.
Ray guns, Legos, bricks and toys.
You know, it was such a good deal, I just could not pass it up. But, you know, last week we had done the opening of Ming the Merciless, and I know that there are multiple waves that NECA put out of the Flash Gordon series. So we had one wave that was four waves. We had a movie wave that consisted of like a 2-pack. We got the Defenders of the Earth wave, which we've looked at the Ming that was from Defenders of the Earth. We got the classic comic book wave, which is the Ming that we looked at last week. And then we got the Mattel version Flash Gordon figures. Now, the Mattel version, they're the ones that are carded, and they're carded like the past Mattel toys. But then you also have very limited accessories. Now, this is one that I got. I didn't find it on retail. I actually found it on an online seller on eBay. But these things are going for super cheap because, I mean, no one's really that into Flash Gordon right now. But with Brian Mays having done the soundtrack or parts of the soundtrack for Masters of the Universe and the kind of allure of Flash Gordon to Masters of the Universe, I'm seeing kind of a comeback. So now I'm trying to scour finding those NECA figures of Flash Gordon that I always wanted that I couldn't find. This happened to be one of them right here. Now, this is taken based off of the Mattel version, and as we review it, we'll do our normal thing. We'll look at the figure in the packaging, we'll open it up, and then we'll actually look at the figure and compare it to other figures within the NECA wave of Flash Gordon toys, so that way we can make a good opinion on whether we think this Flash Gordon is good or not. Of course, this is the packaging. It is a carded figure, so we do have a figure on a card, and it comes in that kind of classic Mattel sort of card back. Now, I'll probably end up just eventually just kind of cutting this away because I'm going to want this card back for safekeeping down the road. It does look like the old classic Mattel card back, which is why for this one, you know, we had the comic series or the original superheroes line. This one I'm calling the greatest adventure of all, the Mattel line, Flash Gordon. This is our Flash Gordon on card. Now, he does come in that clear bubble so we can see Flash Gordon, we see a hand, we see his weapon. This is much like what we got with the Mattel version. That's a smaller card, that's a 3 3/4 inch action figure. Bubble card, kind of card art over on the side. And it looks nice. It reminds me a lot of the old comic book stuff. Flip it over, and you'll have to excuse me. Mine has a drawing all over the back. The seller had a drawing all over it, and it does not scratch off, but just kind of ignore that. Now, out of this, we do have cross-sell art. Out of this particular wave of figures, Flash Gordon, Ming. Original wave, we would have got Flash Gordon, Ming, Lion Man, and I think Lizard Man. I don't know if we'd have gotten Voltron or not. I can't remember. It's been so long since I looked at it. But this only has Flash Gordon and Ming. And I do not have this Ming, but this Ming is a lot like the greatest comic series that we have, or the original superheroes line figure that we have, which will compare him and then the Defenders of the Earth Ming. So we can kind of see how they kind of compare as far as detail and color across the waves, right? And as we get more, we'll do that more often. Now down here, we do have cross-sell art for the Defenders of the Earth line. That Flash Gordon, Phantom, both of those are on my list. The Ming I do have, I was able to get on eBay, but I do not have Flash or the Phantom. I don't really care anything about Mandrake, and I don't really care anything about Lothar. Neither one of those two characters were ones I was really after, especially as a kid. But Flash Gordon, Ming, Phantom, those were all figures that I wanted as a kid. And I think I've got some of the original Defenders of the Earth. Flash and Ming are both in my coffer as far as like what I have, right? So listen, this is it. This is all we have for the packaging. We need to get this open and play with our action figure. And of course, straight out of the package, this is our Flash Gordon action figure. This is a part of the 6-inch line of action figures, and all in all, this looks pretty incredible. I was actually quite surprised. Very vibrant red up here, lots of gold, yellow, everything you think of as primary colors, which are obviously heroic, especially back then. We do have the kind of the bodysuit underwear sort of thing with the navy blue and silver boots. Has a bit of a Mechanic feel, in my opinion, where Mechanic's got the, was it silver boots, blue legs, like black loincloth with green belt, and then red armor, kind of like that. It's a lot of fun, and I like this. You got the repeat of the silver here, and into the blaster itself. Now, he does come with that extra hand. Out of package, he comes with the fist. In the package, he has, of course, the trigger hand, along with the silver blaster. And we've seen this blaster. It's the same blaster that Ming has, that was a part of the original Superheroes line. Now, unfortunately, the finger does not fit inside the trigger well that well on the gun itself, but it's okay. You know, it is. Still looks the part. He's got, of course, the thicker neck, because he's, you know, the heroic Flash Gordon. But nice, like, muscle, nice sculpture here. Repeat of these going all the way around. So really nice sculpting on this. Of course, he's got the ab crunch. He's got a waist turn. He's got the ball hinge shoulders, swivel biceps, double hinged elbows. He's got the ball and hinge or swivel hinge, you know, wrist here. And that's the same on both hands. He does have the interesting, like, thigh cut that cuts in. He's got the ball jointing on the legs, double hinged knees, a boot cut, of course the rocker, and a toe as well. And all the joints on this are very, very nice. Overall, like, superposable. This figure feels very, very shelf ready. I dig the look of this a lot. Now, as far as standing, he does pretty good. I feel like his toes are a little loose and that they constantly feel like they're wanting to drop him forward. And I'm kind of, like, disappointed that he doesn't come with anything other than his blaster. But again, mimicking the original Mattel version of the toy, he would only come with the blaster. So the fact that we got a blaster and a fisted hand, hey, that's great news. We can use that hand for something else, or have him double fist fighting. But that's it. Nowhere to put the blaster except in his hand. So for me, I almost feel like he should just come with the blaster and then the trigger finger, and that's it. But NECA did give us some options here, which is good. Let's compare him with the two Mings that we have. Now, having him paired here with the two Ming figures, he looks great. He looks actually really good with this Ming right here. The Defenders of the Earth Ming, I mean, it still will work, and it works fairly well. But this one is a lot more ornate, very 80s centric with what we got with the kind of the movie. And the Defenders of the Earth cartoon that was run by Stan Lee, Marvel, etc. I like this look, but I think for this one, I do feel like Flash Gordon works really well with the original Superheroes line as well as the Mattel line. Now, the Ming in the Mattel line, or the Mattel run of it, has got kind of a beige suit, so he does look not drastically different, but a little bit different. I do like that we have the addition of these pieces here. We didn't get it with Flash, even though he does have the same sculpting of belt, but they work really well together. as far as that blaster, we've seen that blaster with Ming, where with the Ming the Merciless, it was done in the kind of blue color. We'll kind of compare them there. Yeah. So the blasters are the exact same mold. They just happen to be different colors, which means that if one has the blast effects, the other one should also be able to use the same blast effects. Now, originally we tried that blue blast effect that came with the other Ming. It doesn't actually fit onto either blaster. However, the yellow blast points that came with this Ming here, let's see if it'll fit to our Flash Gordon. It does. Pew, 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 pew. So we can use the blast effects from our original Superheroes run along with the Mattel Greatest Adventure run. Okay, final thoughts on this. I think that this is a great figure. I got mine for about, I think it's $13, so it's super, super cheap. And I'm not one to keep him on the card, though he does display really, really well. I think for Flash Gordon enthusiasts and people who like that kind of old era of science fiction, this is kind of a must-have, especially if you know anything about the toy history with Mattel. Something like this is a nice nod back to late 70s, early 80s, kind of battling the Star Wars Kenner run of 3 3/4 inch action figures. Mattel was doing the same thing with Flash Gordon. It just didn't work out the way that they were expecting. Same thing happened with Clash of the Titans, and I'm trying to remember what other line they have. Battlestar Galactica, I think. All by Mattel. But this is one of those lines that this is kind of paying homage back to what Mattel had put out. And I think it looks great. It really does fit well with other characters in the line and the other parts of the Flash Gordon run. Because, you know, at this point, we have 4 different runs of Flash Gordon by NECA. We have, of course, the Mattel version, which is the Flash Gordon we're looking at today, the Defenders of the Earth, which is this Ming here, and then the original comic series Ming that we looked at last week. The only other version they have is a movie version of Flash and Ming. Of course, I'm on the hunt for all of them, but I really do feel like this particular Flash Gordon does satiate the need for Flash Gordon, and it does it in a really good, kind of fun, kind of classic sci-fi sort of way. The colors are sharp, the articulation is great, the sculpting is phenomenal. I really like it. If you hadn't come across these and you do like Flash Gordon, one of these figures are probably good to get. A lot of them are going on clearance. A lot of people are just trying to clear them out at this point, that it might be worth looking into. For me personally, Flash Gordon wise, I've had, you know, the old Playmates Flash Gordon and then the Defenders of the Earth stuff. But other than that, besides from Mattel, which I never could get the old figures, there wasn't a lot out there. So this lends its hand to my Flash Gordon want to get more product in my life sort of sensibility, and I enjoy it a lot. I would definitely recommend this figure. Be sure to subscribe, hit that bell for notifications to be alerted if anything comes from me to you. Comment down below and like this video. It helps YouTube know that you like what I'm making. Want to help out the channel? Be sure to get something out of the affiliate link down below or in the shop in the link tree in the bio. Hey, I love you all. Jesus loves you more. There's nothing you can do about it. Good luck with the build and happy brick hunting.